The 7-minute miracle at JFK. The John F. Kennedy International Airport was in a state of controlled chaos, paralyzed by the sheer volume of a summer heatwave travel surge. Amidst the swirling sea of humanity, a 6-year-old boy vanished without a trace, right beside his frantic, weeping parents. In a country this vast, this impersonal, could one lost child truly be found? The questioning eyes of international travelers scanned the terminal, a mixture of pity and skepticism on their faces. But just as everyone was about to surrender to the inevitable, JFK Airport chose a path of radical defiance. 7 minutes later, an unbelievable scene unfolded. What exactly did America reveal in those 7 minutes of miracle? That terrifying afternoon at JFK is a moment I will carry with me for the rest of my life. It was a sweltering weekend afternoon. The moment I stepped into the international departures terminal, a heavy sigh escaped my lips. Dragging our suitcases felt like wading against a tidal wave of bodies. The cacophony of languages, dominated by the loud, confident cadence of American English, was just noise, a grating soundtrack to the start of our long journey home to London. The United States was merely a layover for our family. My wife Claire tilted her head, studying the terminal map with a puzzled expression. Our 6-year-old son, Leo, clutched my hand tightly, his small frame tense amidst the forest of towering adults. Even finding the way to the duty-free shops felt like navigating a labyrinth. I started complaining under my breath. Too many people, the signs are a nightmare, and you can barely get a straight answer from the staff. Why did we have to connect through New York? A layover in Zurich would have been so much more civilized. Little did I know, this country was about to show me a miracle. As we rode the escalator up to the retail concourse, I grumbled to Claire, "America is just too much, it's overwhelming." She nodded in agreement, and we continued our quiet critique of the country. This sentiment carried into the duty-free shop. While browsing perfumes and chocolates, I continued my silent rant about the confusing price tags and the rushed, impersonal service. Only Leo was different. His eyes lit up in front of a massive promotional display for a new tech company. He was captivated by a group of humanoid robots taller than he was, performing a synchronized, elegant dance. He was utterly mesmerized. I glanced at my watch and hurried him along. "Leo, come on, we only have 50 minutes until boarding." And in that split second, the moment I looked away, Leo, who had been trailing the robots, disappeared into the crowd. At first, I assumed he was right behind me, but no matter where I looked, I couldn't spot his bright yellow t-shirt. My heart began to pound. I started calling his name, "Leo, Leo," but my voice was swallowed by the terminal's roar. Claire's face went pale. A cold sweat broke out on my brow. I ran around, asking people if they'd seen him, but most just shook their heads, their expressions a mix of annoyance and sympathy. Despair began to crash down. In an airport this colossal, with this many people, how could we possibly find one little boy? Back home in the UK, we'd call the police and an announcement would be made. But here, we were strangers. We didn't know the language well enough to navigate the bureaucracy, didn't even know who to ask for help. I screamed at the top of my lungs, "Can someone please help us find our son? Please?" But the human tide flowed on, an indifferent wall. A memory from a previous trip surfaced, a similar incident at a European airport. It took nearly 3 hours of police reports, announcements, and searching before the child was found. We didn't have that kind of time. Our flight was boarding soon, and more importantly, I was terrified for Leo's safety. My wife whispered in a trembling voice, "David, remember? Leo was in the emergency room just last month with his asthma. What if he has an attack?" Hearing those words, I felt my world collapse. Leo's breathing becomes labored when he's stressed or scared. Alone and terrified now, if his asthma flared up, it could be life-threatening. The despair was a tidal wave. We were utterly alone in this foreign country, helpless against the barriers of culture and a system we didn't understand. I shouted again, louder this time. If this were in London, the Met Police would have this sorted by now. But what is this? JFK? A world-class airport that can't even find a single missing child? I swore in frustration. Around us, other foreign tourists nodded in grim agreement. One sneered, "American airports, all size, no substance." Another added, "It's all just for show in this country." Their words fueled my anger. Were we truly not going to get any help? Would we ever see our son again? Claire began to sob. "I've heard stories. When children get lost in places this big, they're sometimes never found." Just then, as the tension around us became almost unbearable, a Port Authority police officer with a name tag that read Miller approached us. He spoke with a calm, steady voice. "Sir, ma'am, please stay calm. We are initiating the Child Safe Protocol immediately." "Child Safe Protocol? What's that?" I asked, as he pressed his earpiece. "All units, this is Miller. We have a code, Adam. Initiate Child Safe Protocol Level 1. I repeat, Child Safe is a go." In an instant, the atmosphere of the entire terminal shifted. It was as if a chaotic sea had suddenly snapped into a state of military readiness. Staff members all around us began moving with purpose. A stream of technical jargon crackled over their radios. I was stunned. A moment ago, I was cursing this country's system, and now it seemed something entirely different was unfolding. But I was still skeptical. Could this highly organized charade actually work? The seconds ticked by, and there was no sign of Leo. Officer Miller fired questions at us. Last seen clothing, color, shoe type, height, any distinguishing features? We answered frantically. "A yellow t-shirt, blue sneakers. He's a bit small for his age." Immediately, an order crackled over the radio. "Command to CCTV Ops, cross-reference all cameras in Sector 4, Grid 12 through 34. Filter for a child matching the description." I was amazed by their professionalism. This wasn't just a haphazard search. It was a systematic, scientific approach. But my anxiety mounted. I looked at my watch. 43 minutes until boarding. I felt like I was going to collapse. Back in my country, this would take half a day, a passenger behind me muttered, only increasing my agitation. Would we find Leo in time? Claire choked back a sob. What if his asthma acts up? What if he ends up in the hospital again? A wave of guilt washed over me. I hadn't been careful enough with my asthmatic son. The image of Leo gasping for air, his small shoulders heaving, the oxygen mask on his face in the emergency room, it all flashed before my eyes. If he was alone and having an attack now, it could be irreversible. I covered my face with my hands, the weight of my failure as a father crushing me. Officer Miller looked at us and said firmly, "Stay with me. This is the most critical window." His calm voice was filled with confidence, but I couldn't relax. Time was slipping away. Then, Miller announced, "Our multilingual response team is now active across 12 languages, and all floor security is engaged." I was floored. 12 languages? It was real. Orders continued to fly over the radio. Team Alpha, secure all exits from the West Retail Concourse. Team Bravo, monitor all northbound escalators. Team Charlie, sweep the children's play area. I could hear snippets of Spanish, Mandarin, and Arabic on the radio chatter. It was like being at a United Nations summit. The entire airport had become a giant command center. On the massive digital display boards, the flight information was replaced by an emergency message in multiple languages. Missing child alert. Yellow shirt, blue sneakers. If seen, notify nearest official immediately. I couldn't believe it. A moment ago, I had written this country off. Now, they were moving like a single, coordinated entity waging a war. Was this real or just an elaborate show? Just then, an Australian tourist nearby raised his hand. I think I saw a boy who looked like that over there. We sprinted in that direction, my heart hammering against my ribs. We found him. It has to be Leo. Hope surged through me. But as we got closer, we saw it was another child entirely. My hope shattered. In that moment, I thought I would fall. The whiplash from hope to despair was too much to bear. Claire collapsed onto a bench, weeping uncontrollably. I felt the crushing weight of reality again. I turned on Officer Miller, my voice cracking with rage. What are you people doing? Is this some kind of joke? Are you even trying to find him? I slammed my fist on a nearby counter. Officer Miller bowed his head slightly. I am sorry, sir, but this is the critical moment. Please trust our system. His cool response only made me angrier, but at the same time, his unwavering professionalism was strangely impressive. He placed a hand on my shoulder. Sir, the perimeter is shrinking every second. Just then, a report came in from the AI analytics team. We have a positive match. Yellow shirt, pattern confirmed. Subject was on the southbound escalator 3 minutes ago near the robotics display. An order was dispatched instantly. Team Delta, converge on the lower level of the robotics display. Full sweep. I prayed silently. Leo, my boy, please be okay. Daddy's coming. Just hold on. An announcement echoed through the terminal speakers in several languages, asking all passengers to momentarily stop walking and look around them. A security agent handed me a receiver, like a walkie-talkie. We'll keep you updated in real time, she said. I was astonished by the level of care. Officer Miller's voice came over the radio. Medical team have a portable nebulizer on standby for potential asthmatic distress. Hearing that, I was overcome with gratitude. They weren't just looking for a child, they were anticipating his medical needs. Another agent's voice came over the radio. Team Charlie, checking child, safe wristband registry. Negative. The child was not registered. I was confused. A wristband system? Officer Miller answered my unspoken question. Most miracles, sir, begin with preparation. His words struck me to the core. The digital timer on the display screen ticked on. 5 minutes, 10 seconds, 5 minutes, 20 seconds. Time was passing, but strangely, a sense of anticipation began to outweigh my fear. I could feel that this was a professional, systematic operation. David, I think this is different, Claire said, gripping my hand. I think they're really going to find him. Then, the radio crackled again. Confirmation. Visual on a possible match near gate B24. Need immediate verification. We started running again. This has to be him. Please, let it be our Leo. But when we arrived, it was another false alarm. Claire sank to the ground. He's gone. We're never going to find him. I was heartbroken. But then, my eyes caught sight of a kiosk selling INY souvenirs in the distance. Next to it, I saw a sign for a small children's play area. Officer Miller was already on his radio. Team Delta, divert to the play area adjacent to the NY souvenir kiosk. Rescan CCTV footage from that zone. The response was immediate. We have him. Camera 88, yellow shirt, blue sneakers. He's clutching his chest, breathing heavily, appears to be in respiratory distress. A tremor went through my entire body. It was Leo, clutching his chest and wheezing. That was the start of his asthma attacks. Please, I begged. Someone help my son. He's in danger. Officer Miller's voice was resolute. Confirmed. Child Protection Specialist Agent Davis is on approach. Stand by. His voice was full of certainty. This was no longer a search, it was a recovery. I clutched the radio. Finally, we're going to get him back. Hope warred with the fear of another mistake. Claire trembled beside me. We both held our breath, listening to the radio. Agent Davis's voice came through, calm and clear. I have eyes on the subject. Confirmed, it's the missing child. I'm making a gentle approach. On a small monitor nearby, we saw him, It was our Leo. His little shoulders were heaving as he struggled to breathe. He was sobbing in fear. Agent Davis knelt in front of him, and something incredible happened. She began to softly sing "Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star." Her voice was gentle, and she followed it with soothing words in English. We watched as Leo's panic slowly began to subside. Agent Davis then pulled a small teddy bear from her pocket and offered it to him. She began telling him a quiet story, using the bear to capture his attention. It was a masterful, compassionate approach. She wasn't just retrieving a child, she was calming a terrified soul. Tears streamed down my face. I had never witnessed such gentle, professional care. Leo's small shoulders began to relax, his sobs quieted. He became engrossed in Agent Davis's story. The digital display showed the elapsed time. 7 minutes and 2 seconds. That was all it took. We followed Agent Davis's directions to where Leo was. My heart was about to explode, but this time it was with hope. When we finally stood before him, Leo was no longer crying. He was clutching the teddy bear tightly, sitting quietly beside Agent Davis. It was an unbelievable sight. "Daddy?" Leo launched himself into my arms. I felt his small body, his warmth. I tried to hold back my tears but failed, hugging him tightly and sobbing with relief. I turned to Officer Miller and bowed my head deeply. "I was so rude to you. I doubted you. I am so sorry." Officer Miller smiled warmly. "Sir, the only thing that matters today is that your son is safe. No apologies needed. We understand a parent's fear." Agent Davis checked Leo's condition. "His breathing is stabilizing. We have a nebulizer here just in case." My voice shook as I spoke. In 20 years of international travel, I have never, ever seen anything like this. It's like you're living in the future here. Officer Miller gave a humble smile. "We prepare for a day like this every day, sir, because a single child carries the weight of the entire world." Leo whispered to me, "Daddy, I like America. The bear is very nice." It seemed even our little boy had sensed the warmth of this country. The crowd of onlookers who had witnessed our reunion broke into applause. The same tourists who had been sneering just minutes before now had looks of awe on their faces. Reporters began to gather. I told them that what I saw today was the perfect fusion of a flawless system and a deeply human heart. This, I said, was the true face of an advanced society. Headlines began appearing on the digital displays. "The world's safest airport. JF7, minute miracle to save a child. A global benchmark in emergency response." I thanked Officer Miller and Agent Davis again. "What you did today was incredible. The world should learn from you." Before we boarded our flight, I made a promise to myself. I would tell the world about the incredible thing I witnessed today. I would let people know that a country with such a brilliant system and such a big heart exists. As our plane took off, I looked down at the glittering lights of New York City. This journey had changed my perspective forever. America was no longer just a layover. It was a place that had taught me a priceless lesson. The best systems in the world are meaningless without the human hearts that drive them. And here, in the United States, I had seen the perfect marriage of the two. I knew in my heart we would be back, not as hurried travelers, but as friends, eager to learn more about the beauty of this country and its people. The 7-minute miracle at JFK wasn't just about finding a lost boy. It was about discovering the great heart of a nation hidden beneath the chaos, and that heart had given my family a memory we would cherish forever.